Welcome to Where Do We Go From Here? I'm your host, Kimon Kotos, and today we begin a series called The Decision Makers. We'll be interviewing elected officials on the national, state, and local level. Joining us today will be Congressman Gary Peters from Michigan's 9th District and Congresswoman Maxine Waters from California's 35th District.
I'm Congressman Gary Peters. I represent Oakland County, the eastern part of Oakland County, and just elected and just sworn into office last week.
Well, Congressman Peters, tell us a little bit about your district and some of your legislative goals for the upcoming session ahead.
Well, the district I represent is Oakland County, or the eastern part of Oakland County, which is just north of Detroit, a very suburban district, but certainly a real mix of communities. I represent Birmingham, Bloomfield, also the city of Pontiac, Farmington Hills, West Bloomfield, and a very diverse area as well, both ethnically and economically. Some of my main goals are dealing with the financial crisis that we have in this country. My background is in finance. I spent 22 years in the investment business, and certainly with the economic crisis that we're facing here, not only in Michigan but around the country, it's very important to deal with that first and foremost. I was just recently assigned to the Financial Services Committee, which has primary jurisdiction over the financial institutions in this country. It also deals with foreclosures. Michigan leads the country in foreclosures now, and so it's a critical committee for that. Also, the automotive industry, which continues to drive our state, is facing some major challenges now. The rescue package for the auto industry is in the Financial Services Committee. So I thought it was very important to serve in that committee. One, it's my background, so I could hit the ground running, but also very important given the economic conditions in Michigan, the foreclosure crisis, and the fact that we've got to get the auto industry in Michigan, our domestic auto industry, to continue to be the world leader. And right now we need to weather some of the storm, and I can have an impact on that committee and be a voice for Michigan residents on that very important committee.
Well, it's great. Now, could you tell us a little bit about the industries that are in your district and some of the ways you might be able to help in terms of providing investment for some of the innovators in our community?
Well, we have a real range of industry, but the one area that we're particularly proud of is a lot of high-tech companies, alternative energy companies. Oakland County is the Center for Automation Alley, which deals with a lot of robotics and advanced technology, primarily related to the auto sector. And most people sometimes don't realize how advanced and how technologically advanced the automotive industry is, and a lot of those facilities are in my district. We have some of the best automotive engineers anywhere in the world right there in the district. Also some leaders in alternative energy, including solar energy, some of the leading companies in solar energy. And I personally believe that's a big part of Michigan's future, is to be a leader in alternative energy, whether it's wind energy and solar energy and biofuels, and many of those cutting edge technology firms are located in my district, and I'm going to be working very closely with those industries to help create the green collar jobs of tomorrow that'll not only power our whole country, but it'll be really very, very important for the economic development of the state of Michigan and my district in particular.
Can you comment on the upcoming bill, that's the economic stimulus bill, in terms of whether we're likely to see some support for the states and local municipalities, particularly in concerns of public services like health and some of the other services that are needed? Particularly, I know you're working on the S-chip bill, and could you comment a little bit about that?
Yeah, we have to get Michigan's economy moving in the country moving, and the economic recovery package being proposed by President Obama is critical to that, and I think Michigan will be a big beneficiary of that. We're still working out, as we're taping this, we're still working out the details as to what's going to be in that bill. It's going to be a combination of infrastructure projects and things like roads and bridges. And anybody who lives in Michigan, we all know we could use help with upgrading our roads and bridges who need investment. So we're going to bring in some very, very important dollars into those projects. We're going to be funding those projects that are ready to go right now, that are shovel ready, that can put people to work now. Certainly that's the first goal of the package, is to get people working, getting that money into the economy to help jumpstart the economy, but also taking a long-term view. It's not about just jobs today, it's also about jobs tomorrow. And so these investments are long-term strategic investments that we need to be making in infrastructure, roads and bridges, which are critical for our long-term economic development, It's also in the area of alternative energy. We're going to double in the bill, at least right now, it looks like we're going to at least double the amount of energy that comes from renewable sources as a result of investments in the bill. We're looking for substantial investments in battery technology, which will be very important in the automotive industry as we move to the plug-in hybrids of the future. Battery technology is critical for the United States and our domestic auto industry to be a world leader. There's going to be substantial investments in this package to do that. There are also going to be investments in the healthcare area, and one area where we know from a long-term perspective will bring down costs dramatically for people, and also, more importantly, lead to better healthcare is by putting electronic information systems in our hospitals so that we can monitor patients' records. That is a substantial investment. It's a part of this package. It is money that will definitely stimulate economic development. It'll put people to work. And it'll save lives and bring down the cost of healthcare in this country. So a very important investment. Also along the lines of becoming energy independent, we're going to be making substantial investments in weatherizing buildings to make them more energy efficient. In addition to, in order for us to wean ourselves from dependence on foreign energy and foreign sources, one, we want to have new alternative sources, but we also have to use our energy more efficiently. We get a real big bang for our dollar there. And in this package, you're going to see most federal buildings are all going to be weatherized and be much more energy efficient. The same kind of investments are going to be made in our school buildings, not only in weatherization, but also other kinds of upgrades for our school buildings, which many in Michigan are very old and need to be upgraded. And along with that, you're going to see substantial investments in education generally, which again are strategic investments for us long-term in educating our young people.
Well, getting back to health, I also want to talk about retirees. You know, we have a lot of retirees from General Motors and people who've lost their job from Delphi and other industries in West Michigan, or West Michigan overall. But could you address some of the issues related to S-chip and also ways in which, through financial services, we may be addressing pension protection and making sure that people have that security?
Well, it is very important. Pension protection is critical. We need to make sure that that's stable. People who have worked their whole lives and have put money into plans and are retiring, it's not a situation where you can go back to work when you're retired, and that's money that people have due to them. There is a moral commitment there. We have to make sure that that commitment's there. So strengthening the pension systems, making sure those systems have the resources there, that they're fully invested, is going to be a critical component of what we're going to do in the Financial Services Committee. You mentioned S-chip. S-chip is the Children's Healthcare Initiative, which just passed before the taping of this interview. Which I'm very proud to have been a part of, which will expand the number of children that have access to health care, particularly in these very challenging times where people are losing their jobs, or if they're not losing their jobs, they're finding their health care is being discontinued by their employer, and increasing numbers of people are now going without health insurance, and that includes children. And this bill will expand the number of children that will have access to health care from up to 11 million children, an additional 4 million children. In Michigan, the estimates are somewhere around 80,000 additional children will now have access to health care, to see a physician. And you know, as a parent myself, I know that having a sick child is one of the worst things that you can possibly experience. You feel very helpless with that sick child, and if you're in a situation where you don't have the insurance and the ability to pay to find treatment for your child, it is one of the most frightening things a parent can go through. And so passing this legislation is very important to have those resources to know that our children will have access to a physician. And I think that certainly says a lot about us as a society, that we say, as we're debating the bigger picture of healthcare and trying to move towards comprehensive care for everybody, that at least we can say the children in this country have access to healthcare.
That's terrific. And just recently, the House passed the Lilly Ledbetter Fair Pay Act. Could you comment on that? Because there's quite a large number of women in the workforce who haven't been getting an equal pay, and it's about time we finally get to that. Could you address some of the issues that are going to be affected by that?
Yeah, absolutely. That was the first vote right out of the box. In fact, I'm proud to say it was the first speech that I gave on the floor of the House of Representatives, was standing up for pay equity for women. Michigan lags the rest of the country. In fact, I think we're 47 out of 50 states in terms of the differential between women and men, what they get paid. Women get paid about 70 cents on the dollar. And that's when you control for things like education and experience, there is this differential that really is inexcusable. You know, as a father, my two daughters, to think that my daughters would get paid less than somebody else simply because they're female is outrageous to me, and certainly is outrageous, I'm sure, to all the viewers here, that women should be paid no differently than their male counterparts when they're doing the same job. And so we put forward legislation that will toughen the laws and allow us to close that gap, and to know that everybody, when they're doing the same work, should get paid fairly, and that form of gender discrimination should not and will not be tolerated anymore.
Well, thank you, Congressman Peters, and good luck in the days ahead.
Well, thank you so much. A pleasure to be interviewed.